biggest things that slows us down as podcasters is a lack of time. Sometimes we just don't have the bandwidth to produce content on a consistent basis. Today, I'm going to help you nip that in the bud. I'm going to share a very simple podcasting hack that I discovered as I just produced my most recent episodes, and I'm going to give you 5 reasons why this hack works. Recently released season 2 of Pod Theory. In case you don't know, Pod Theory is my podcast where I talk about various tips, strategies, and commentary, all focused on the art and business of podcasting. When I started Pod Theory back in September of 2020, I initially did the show on a daily basis. Episodes were about 5 to 10 minutes, and every Monday through Friday you could catch some new content, and then I would sprinkle in an interview here and there. As I got deeper into the production of Pod Theory, I realized I was missing that conversational element. It's one of my favorite aspects of podcasting, and I wasn't doing it. So I wanted to bring that back center stage and make it a focal point as I produced episodes going forward. So I decided that the first 125 episodes of Pod Theory would serve as season 1, and then I was going to go a different direction and start doing shorter seasons, all focused on one subject. And as I started reaching out to different personalities to bring them on the show, I realized that I was still putting a lot of work on my plate by trying to bring in a new personality for each subject. So what I decided to do was something that I felt was a very fresh, very innovative idea. I decided to bring on a featured co-host. That featured co-host for season 2 was Travis Brown, the founder of Poddex. I had done some work with Travis in the past. He was actually on the season finale of season 1 of Pod Theory. And I've gotten to know Travis over some time, and I felt that he would be a great person to come on the show, and we could tackle the subject, which was debunking myths and misconceptions that slow us down as podcasters. So today, what I want to share with you is something that I felt I stumbled on. As I said, I wanted to do something a little different. And I know that podcasters struggle with time. And Travis and I actually did an episode all about this and how you can overcome some of the time management problems that you may face as a podcaster. Some podcasters use it as a barrier to where they don't even get started just because they're letting time hold them back. So today I want to share a very efficient way that you can podcast, and I'm going to give you 5 reasons why this podcasting hack works. So obviously doing seasons is nothing new. Podcasters have been doing seasons for a long, long time. I've done it myself, and personally I feel it's a great way to get content out there. And as I discovered, having that featured co-host in place is an opportunity for you to produce content and add a new perspective to your show. It's a great way to save time, and it's an efficient way to make a show so you don't have to worry about time being a factor. All you need to do is commit time to producing the season, have one person come on the show for that season, and you're going to have a great opportunity to put something together that your audience is going to love because you're going to have the additional value that that featured co-host brings to the microphone. So as I said, I wanted to share this hack, which may or may not even be a hack, but I wanted to share a very simple, efficient way for you to produce content going forward. And we're going to talk about the 5 reasons why having a featured co-host is great for your production and how it's going to help you produce podcast content more efficiently. So as I already said, doing a podcast season with a featured co-host is a very efficient and time-saving way to produce podcast content. Let's just say, for example, that you do a weekly podcast. Every time you do a new show, you know the checklist. You have to find a guest, and even if you don't do guests, you still have to build out your content and have talking points, and you know the drill. If you're a podcaster, you know all of the things that you need to do on a weekly basis. And if you are a show that features guests, which the majority of podcasts are, it can become very daunting to always find a new personality to come on your show, and then you need to prepare for that interview and prepare for that conversation by learning about them, finding out what is the best talking points that's going to help bring value to your audience with them on the other side of the microphone. And if you do this in a seasonal format and just have one guest come on and help you tackle a specific subject, think of all the time you'll save. You can create these seasons, you can drip that content out week over week if you'd like to, or you can do what I did with Pod Theory Season 2. I put everything out there all at once, much like a Netflix or an Amazon Prime season. All the content is there for you to consume all at once. There's no waiting. You can go from start to finish and consume everything that we were tackling in that season, and then you can take a break. So if you want to save yourself some time and you want to do things in a more efficient manner, consider doing a season with a featured co-host and let their perspective add value to your show and impact your audience. Podcasting is all about consistency, right? So having a featured co-host in place is a great way to add a new layer of consistency to your production. When your audience tunes into the episodes that you've produced, if they hear the same voices each episode from the start to the finish of the season, it's going to give them this sense of comfort in knowing that each episode they consume, it's going to be from the perspective of the person that you brought on as your featured co-host and from you as the host. So you can up your consistency by bringing the same personality into the fold for each episode you produce. That's incredibly powerful, and it's a tremendous way to make a huge impact on your audience. Another element a featured co-host brings to your show is the ability to enhance your content. With each episode and each topic that you cover, you're going to have additional perspectives and philosophies all from the same person. And having that additional voice in place is going to allow you to make better content. Because in nature, you're going to have a very conversational back and forth. And that's going to allow your content to shine without a lot of extra effort. Because as you'll discover, the more episodes you do with that featured co-host, the more rapport you're going to have, and the more your content is going to shine. It's a great way to bring a new perspective, as I said before, but it's going to enhance your content overall because each episode is going to have multiple perspectives in a strong conversational format. So I mentioned this already, but I feel it's a very, very powerful element of this approach. Once you get that featured co-host in place and you start doing episodes and you start having conversations from episode to episode, your rapport is naturally going to get better and better. If you ever hosted a podcast with somebody else, you know the more episodes you do, the more time you spend together, the better the conversation becomes and the more powerful the content becomes. So if you're producing a block of content in a season format and you have the same voice and the same person on the other end of the microphone that you're going back and forth with, you know that you are going to be making a huge impact on your audience because everyone is going to get comfortable, as I said before, and you are going to get more comfortable because you'll have that rapport, and when you have a strong rapport with someone, the conversation happens much more naturally, and better content is the final result. And the final reason why having a featured co-host on each of your seasons is a great approach to building podcast content is that you're going to be bringing fresh perspectives and fresh voices to each season you produce. As I said, I just finished season 2 of Pod Theory with Travis Brown, and when I do season 3, I'm going to have another featured co-host come on the show, and we're going to rock it out over another subject. TBD. I'll let you know. But the point is, you're going to bring that new perspective into each season, and it's going to keep everything fresh, and it's going to give a new voice to impact the audience. So you're introducing new philosophies, new beliefs, new skill sets. All of these things can be brought into play when you bring that featured co-host into the mix. And again, if you wanted to do multiple seasons with the same person, you absolutely can do that. It's totally up to you. As we know, with podcasting, there are no set rules on how you produce content. but if you want to keep things fresh from season to season, having a new featured co-host in place is going to allow you to do that. So there you have it. Not exactly breaking new ground when it comes to podcast seasons, but bringing in a featured co-host is a great way to produce content efficiently. It's a great way to save time. And it's a lot of fun because you get to build rapport with another personality in your space that at the same time is helping you impact your audience with killer content that they're going to want to come back to and, most importantly, recommend to others. And when you do your podcast in seasons, you allow yourself to take a break. And those breaks can be as long as you want. Don't take too long because you don't want to lose your audience completely. But taking a break in between seasons is what everyone has always done when they've produced seasons. So leave the audience wanting more and then come back with a new season with a new featured co-host and kick ass all over again. So I hope you enjoyed our time together today. I know I did. I encourage you to go check out episode 128 of Pod Theory. It's part of season 2, and there's more time-saving tips and strategies from me and Travis in that episode. And while you're there, check out all the other episodes. Season 2 was a lot of fun, and if you want a good example of how this featured co-host works, check out season 2 of Pod Theory. Again, all the episodes are right here on my YouTube channel, and you can find Pod Theory wherever you listen to podcasts. End of video.